You know, Borderlands is actually one of my favorite games of all time. I played the shit out of it, especially Borderlands 2 when I was younger. But what I saw was fucking terrible. So I watched it at home. I did it the old Yarg Harg way, if you know what I'm trying to say. For legal reasons, that's a joke. And let me just say that was absolutely terrible. From the moment I saw the cast, I just knew it was going to be bad. The only, like, 2 or 3 people that I actually liked in that cast was the dude who played the psycho Krieg, which, by the way, favorite character, that's who I mained in Borderlands 2. And then, also, Tiny Tina, I feel like she wouldn't have been that bad of a character if they actually wrote her well. Unfortunately, they did not write her that well, so that's one person I would probably eliminate off the list of the people I did like. Jack Black, I honestly thought he would have been a terrible Claptrap, but he turned out to actually do a lot better than I was expecting. I do wish they had Claptrap from the video games, the person who voice acted that, into the movie. I don't understand why they didn't, but I just felt like they kind of were like, hey, I'm a Hollywood hotshot with $110 million. Let's throw it at our biggest actors, spend all of our budget, and then give shitty costumes, shitty story, shitty writing, terrible jokes, and I honestly don't know why they did that. I've seen cosplayers pull off better costume design and makeup than the actual movie. There were a couple of good scenes, I'll say, like, the action wasn't too bad. For the most part, it wasn't as gory or violent that I'd really like it to be, because Borderlands, if you haven't played the game, is extremely violent. And yet in the movie, it kind of seemed numbed down. And I understand that they wanted to appeal to a wider audience with the PG-13, rating, but I feel like with trying to limit themselves into that PG-13 rating, they weren't able to really give us, cussing or the violence or anything like that really makes Borderlands Borderlands. The main villain boss guy didn't even really feel like a big threat the entire time. His whole deal was just, I'm a big corporate asshole with a lot of money, and if you don't get my daughter, then I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, that's all. The only real time he actually was a threat was when he came at the ending and he had his shield on and floating fucking Atlas plane or whatever it was called. He just wasn't that much of a threat, unlike Handsome Jack, who in the video games is actually a huge threat. And I noticed, I know that this is before Handsome Jack, this is pre-Handsome Jack, but I wish the vibes, or at least more threatening feeling, would have came from the villain of this movie. I really wish that Krieg would have been able to say more things, or at least get a little bit of his mindset of, a sane person fighting with an insane person inside his own head. And the way that Lilith got her powers is not accurate to the lore. They kind of just threw that in there at the end of the movie to go, hey everybody, she's got powers now. It's huge. It's great. This is how she's gonna win the fight. The backstory, I guess, wasn't that bad, but it was just it just wasn't accurate to the games. And I think that's the biggest thing that a bunch of these Hollywood hotshots, forget about, is that the reason these games become so good is because they have something to take from the story, something interesting, a good story, and when you change it and throw on actors and actresses that don't really fit the role, it just doesn't really add up. It just doesn't seem good. It feels cheap. I will say that, the cars look nice in it, the guns look nice in it, but they don't really explain any of the guns either, which is kind of like, okay. I mean, Lilith has the infinity pistol or whatever the fuck it's called, and it has infinite ammo because it has 2 barrels that keep spinning or whatever. But they don't really explain that. Tiny Tina, she has a rocket launcher in one scene. You never see it again. I don't think she's ever used it after that one moment, and I don't even think she used it. The only thing Tiny Tina does is, I'm special, I'm the vault key, have a badonkadonk. They should have delved more into the weapons, or something. I've had to wait a whole week. I've watched it probably a week or 2 ago, and it's completely forgettable. I was really thinking of getting a Borderlands Psycho Mask tattoo recently, but then when I saw that movie, and then the disappointment I had from the beginning of Borderlands 3, and now I haven't played Borderlands 3 since the beginning of it, and I didn't really like the story all too much. But I've really wanted a Psycho Mask tattoo until I saw that movie, and that's what really did it for me. Now, I read somewhere that Eli Roth, the director of the Borderlands movie, actually didn't play the games before making the movie. And that makes me think that he was just like, you know, hey, here's a really big IP that a lot of people enjoy. Let's try to make some quick cash off of it. Well, they ended up blowing a majority of their cash. The wrong cast, story was terrible, the writing was terrible. It was just bad altogether. Jack Black as Claptrap did get a few laughs out of me. There was one scene that everybody hates where he's basically pooping out bullet casings. That one actually did kind of make me chuckle a little bit, but I did feel like it went on a little too long. But that's just my small rant about the Borderlands movie. I just had to get it out there, and, you know, hopefully I can end up making more videos where I just talk about shit that I don't like. It was just such a huge disappointment that at the end of the movie, I was just so ashamed, so disappointed. It was more about the power of friendship than about anything that Borderlands actually has to do with it. And don't get me wrong, friendship is companionship is a huge thing in Borderlands because you get to play with your friends and it's fun. But when you make the story so generic because you also put down the rating to PG-13, you don't get the Borderlands feel that everybody fell in love with, and therefore I think you lose a lot of your customers by changing it from what it was supposed to be. But anyways, I just had to get that out there. That's what I was thinking about the movie. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if you want to, if anybody even watches this video. But man, Deadpool and Wolverine was good though.